Racing hearts start to pound, wheels touching the ground, speeding through the sound, harder tracks all around. Adam, Eric, J-Hole, Jesse race. Friday nights, take your place. Formula 1 GT, free chase. Virtual leagues in your face. The pit maneuver, feel the thrill, feel the groove. The pit maneuver, engine roar, make a move. Race cars flying by, adrenaline sky high. Gear shift before your eyes, champions never lie. Get in the zone, get in line, drifting tight, chasing time. Checkered flags we climb, cross that finish prime. The pit maneuver, feel the engine scream and cry. The pit maneuver, burning tracks reach the sky. Slow motion, broadcasting roar on the track. Talking on racing, thrilling the racer's snack. IMSA dreams busted, tires whiter than black. Shut up and drive, it echoes down the street. Formula 1 battles can't be beat. Engines scream, tires heat. Feel the speed through the airwaves loud. Burning rubber fast, no room for doubt. Race to the sound, conquer the crowd. Qualifying laps, pure adrenaline rush. Pit stop, seamless mechanics hush. Chasing glory, fame in a sweaty hush. Downforce fighters battling all the way. Grit and gravel scenes, it's a speed ballet. Revving into twilight night, turns to day.
If it has 4 wheels and a motor, we have already tried proposing to it. Welcome to the Slow Motion Podcast with Shut Up and Drive It. Grab yourself a delicious cold beer and tell the rest of the world to shut the heck up. Here we talk real race cars and virtual race cars, from F1 to league racing. With live stream on Fridays and full releases on Mondays, our content is high octane, so lock your derriere into your cherriere and enjoy the ride.
All right. Welcome, guys. We are back. It is Friday night for some of us, unless you're in the National Guard, and you have to work tomorrow and Sunday as well.
I mean, it's still Friday, right?
Wait. Yeah. Well, it's Wednesday, technically, but can't wait for that. But we're here tonight. We've got Jesse, as always, with us. Welcome in, Jesse. Then we've got the we've got the two sicklings down here. I think they may have been making
Put
some
that on
sweet,
me, Ricky Bobby.
They may have been making some sweet love to each other last weekend. It sounds like.
And
Yeah, we both have mono.
here we have mono.
Yep, fair enough.
But we didn't do
enough.
it. We went mono and mono and got mono.
All right, let's get straight into it. I'm already sick of your dad jokes, dude, and we just started. So here we go.
No, he didn't.
We're jumping into F1 first. Spa last weekend. Let's hit that, and then we're going to talk about some driver moves that we've seen in the past couple weeks. Well, Max Verstappen took a grid penalty, obviously, for the engine changes.
Super Max.
Everybody thought that he was going to win the race. He didn't.
From that position? Was he favored
didn't-
still?
Yes, he was.
Not for me. I did not think he was going to make that recovery. I think
Not the full
he's
way,
made that
maybe.
recovery so many times before that maybe the masses were like, sure. But that gap has closed so much in the last handful of races. I
Like
knew
5
it was-
races.
Yeah. I mean, he barely was able to hold off Lando when he had a good race. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like, to start from P11, I think it was still the right move to go ahead and make those changes, take the penalty now. You know, that way he can just run. Hopefully he doesn't have to do it again. But, yeah, I think it was probably the right move to go ahead and do it now and just take the L, if you will.
I think it
Still
was
valiant effort.
Yeah.
What did he get?
Yeah.
P4? Almost a podium. Still. respectable.
Well, didn't he? We'll get into it. I think he technically did get a podium.
No, he
But-
didn't.
Oh,
he got
oh.
P4.
I think he got bumped to P4.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was bumped to P4. He finished P5 on track, and then what happened there, Adam? I see you wearing a shirt, so I'll let you explain it.
It's a bittersweet week to be a Mercedes fan, to say the least. I guess we can get right into that. Jesse, you have anything to say about Max before we move on?
Well, I mean, I think he drove like what I expected him to do. I didn't expect him to win either, but I knew that if something kind of fell, right, like maybe they timed a safety car or something, right? There was like, oh man, he gets a little help from like a safety car situation, something. He gets back to, he gets sort of that brought back to the front. Like, yeah, maybe there's a chance they could swing it, but I didn't think a win was on for him. Mercedes looked good. Obviously, sucks what happened.
Yeah, you
know,
segued
all I
that.
can say is they're pushing. I mean, you look at it, they're pushing that car to the edge, and if you miss it, I mean, if you miss it, you miss it, right? They could have missed it by a smaller margin and still missed it.
That's
No,
true.
But
Because what
You
was the
take
final
it.
number? Like 2 kilograms or something?
it was like
It was
less than
not
that,
much.
1.5.
It was literally enough where if he had a finish, like a cool down lap, all drivers do it. You see him drive in the marbles and they pick up all kinds of slag. Like that, he would have been fine. That's literally what it came down to. Yeah.
I take shits that are 2.5 kilograms.
Actually, so Alonso, Magnussen, and Stroll all did 1 stops as well. No one cared because it wasn't as good of a drive. But Alonso, actually, because he didn't have to go to victory lane, he drove further down pit lane, was able to pick up enough rubber where it was fine.
Really? Yeah. I didn't know that part of it.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I mean, they're
like picking
playing
up
with-
marbles like they're fucking weight.
Yeah, that's yeah.
OPR.
I didn't
baby.
even know about that strat. Man.
OPR.
All right, let's get into exactly what happened. So, about
Please
halfway
explain.
through the race, you could hear some radio comms to Lewis because that's the ones that Formula One decided to. If he didn't shit before the race, he would have been fine. From Kevin Bogart. Yes, that is
So
also
true.
also correct.
Honestly,
That is-
yeah.
Yeah, that is also correct, Kevin. But so you have to think 20 laps into the race, they're already coming over the radio to Lewis. Lewis is saying the tires are fine. Bono says, "Okay, start lifting and coasting." At that point, I think they realized that they were starting to run into some issues on fuel. And Crofty, of all the bullshit he normally says, Crofty actually had a good point when he said they were all expecting a safety car today. The safety car
yeah.
percentage
It's Spa.
at Spa is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you don't have that safety car, you're running full bore for 70 laps.
That's true.
They
44.
ran or 44.
44 laps.
44 laps, yeah, sorry.
44
You're running full
for
bore
the man,
for
right?
44 laps.
Your man.
Right? So 44 laps, balls out, going balls to the wall. You can't really lift that much at Spa. I get you can, but there's The lifting and coasting zones are also where the overtaking zones are on that track. Let's be honest. So it's not one of those things you really wanted to do. So without that safety car, most of them, and the thing is, they do weigh, if I'm not mistaken, they weigh every car when it comes in afterwards, correct?
Yes, they weigh the car and the driver before they see their physios. They're not allowed to drink any water. They're not allowed to do anything until they get weighed. That's mandatory.
They always go to the scales. You see them get out of the car, they go to the scales, and they go party.
Yeah.
And
So
there's
you
been a
wonder
few
if-
instances where they violate that for whatever reason, and they get smacked for sure.
Well, I just looked up a crazy stat too right now. They were all airing. They made the right calls probability wise. What do you think the percentage of a safety car at Spa in F1 is?
77.
I was gonna guess in the 70%. Yeah.
Yeah.
It said 75, but I'm sure that's the same thing. So they pretty much banked on it, and
They did. I mean, and that's what
everything's a gamble at the end of the day. It's
Yep.
it's a roll of the dice.
For sure.
And that's what the commentators were saying too. It was one of those things that everyone's banking on. And then all of a sudden, Bono, halfway through the race strategist is talking probably in Bono's ear going, we might have a problem here, bro. Like, what are we going to do? And you wonder if that same message went out to George Russell as well, right? Because they pitted Lewis pretty quick. Like, they had to cover, obviously, Lando behind him. But at the same time, when George said it was kind of a weird thing. They're like, okay, George, can you one stop? Do you want a one stop? He goes, oh yeah, let's do it. Like basically, we're going to the end. And then at the end, all of a sudden, I think they knew that they were fucked. Like it's
At what
it's one
point?
of those.
I don't think that's what
Pretty
happened.
soon.
Looking at it, honestly, so here's one of my biggest criticisms of Mr. LH, Mr. Lewis Hamilton, and why I like Carlos Sainz so much by comparison. So Carlos can sit there in the seat and make race strategy decisions that actually make sense from the car. Lewis cannot do that. He's never been able to do that, but he can deliver. If you're like, hey, I need you to do this, this, and this, he's gonna do it, right? But if you're like, hey, Lewis, do you think you should do this or this? He has no freaking idea, right? And that's fine. That's not his strong point. But George does have a little bit of that skill, and I think he made the call. He was really modest, and he didn't take the credit for it, but he made the call. He's like, no, I think we can keep going on these tires.
Of course, he didn't take the credit for it. He didn't win the race. I think they all knew pretty quickly after the race was over that they were screwed.
Yeah, there was some like weird facial expressions and then like some weird camera panning and all of that. Like, but at the same time, I don't know. Like, it came down to such a margin where I don't know that they were thinking that they were for sure screwed. I think they were like thinking it was going to be close. But
Well, why were they telling Lewis to lift and coast then on lap 20?
Well,
they knew that the margins were going to be close on their weight. That's the only reason, because they had no mechanical problems at all.
I honestly can't really speculate why they were telling Lewis to lift and coast. George, maybe.
I think he was just managing a lead.
Yeah.
He got out in front. He sat out there. He sat out 3 seconds. He got to 3 seconds and sat there.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe it was a longevity thing, but I don't think it was necessarily a weight thing. Because
why push when you have the field covered?
Yeah.
You
Especially if you can maintain.
If you got a 3 second gap and you get undercut, right? Let's just say at the time Leclerc went for the undercut. Like, you have a whole lap to cover that off.
It's true.
Yeah.
Right. So being out front is always kind of the best strategy, because you're going to see when the first people are going to react, and then you have the choice. Do you want to react and start committing to that strategy, or do you run your own race?
Mm-hmm.
Which they ran their own race, and George ran their own race, and at the end they were right there. I mean, I think Lewis probably should have won that race. I don't know what he was doing in turn 1 for 5 laps in a row, but
Yeah.
he got the worst exits out of La Source I've ever seen.
Yeah.
On the flip side, George did a great job getting the exits that he got, and then he was right there, and he couldn't even get him down the Kimmel. He got close one time,
That's true.
but he couldn't do it.
He legitimately did not have the pace on him. But, I mean, for what it's worth, what you said there, Jesse, Lewis did win.
He did. And, I mean,
Big props to George, though. This is something that, like, we've been saying all season that George Russell can't even do.
race pace.
This last minute orchestrating in his head, multiple things going on, making a plan, executing through the end of the race. is something that he struggled with.
Yeah,
And
that
now
last
the
part,
one time that he's able to complete the puzzle falls apart. Something that's
it.
outside
I mean,
of his control.
Unfortunately, Mercedes is
extent.
scrapping, man. You see what they're
Yeah.
doing. They're running the cars
Yeah.
that close to the edge. And
I do
everybody
like-
does.
I love it though, but it's
They are. They're doing good. And okay, so and the other thing that is interesting here, like so when we go back and we think about Lewis Hamilton's win at Spa, and I'm not even gloating about that one, which is something that I would
way you
normally
say
do. When you go and you think about Oscar Piastri's win, just last race.
Oh, that was such an
all
overshadowed
these
win.
hollow wins coming out that it's
You've
like
got 2 hollow wins now in a row. I mean, it's obviously different circumstances, but not really. It was the team. It was the team again that screwed both of these guys out of their wins, I would say.
Yeah.
So
They're not
it's-
used to it, man. No one's used to beating Red Bull. It's been a couple years. So
Yeah,
they got to
exactly.
get reacquainted with that idea.
Thank you
Which
for
is crazy.
segueing me. Thank you for segueing me. Where the fuck did Mercedes race pace come from? Because we have all the stuff I follow, all the upgrades and stuff. Yeah, Red Bull said they were topped out. McLaren, Ferrari, blah blah blah. Mercedes has just been sitting there
I have a
in the
theory.
shadows.
I have a theory. Did they just turn the wick up on the motors?
Bingo.
Because McLaren's fast too. Is the Mercedes motor just like? Because no, I don't know how any analyst has not gone. Wow, Ferrari were the second fastest, and then here come Mercedes and McLaren, and nobody's like connected the dot that they're powered by the same engine.
Well, and then
And they
also,
both gonna come up at the same time. It's like
So was there an upgrade
a
that
little
allowed
obvious.
them?
Well-
Was there an upgrade? Do you think that allowed them more? Consistent? Not the word consistency. I'm trying to think of the word. More reliability, so they could turn it up more.
I think honestly,
I don't know.
there's like a weird timing with. Remember the allegations that Mercedes was purposely hindering Lewis Hamilton, and they launched it. They called the police to investigate.
well, that's because it was hostile. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what a coincidence that right after this happens, Mercedes is suddenly fighting at the front, and Lewis has won 2 races.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe it's a coincidence, maybe, but I think there's some merit to the fact that they maybe are running a better engine map now to extract more power, and they don't care as much about longevity because they had some mud on their face,
Yeah, maybe. I don't know anymore. I mean,
both
it's
teams
so
get
tough.
fast at the same time. It's the obvious answer.
Yeah.
But
I mean, yes.
before the summer break, though, that's the big thing too. I mean, this was their race before the summer break, and they come into it. Normally, after the summer break, I know they're all supposed to take breaks. The politics in F1, you can't fucking trust a goddamn word anyone says, right?
No.
They're probably not. They're probably still wrenching on the fucking cars, even though they're not supposed to be, sort of thing, right? Like it's one of those.
Well, they don't
things.
call it
That's
wrenching.
normally-
They probably call it something else. You know what I mean? So
Spannering.
like it's that
R&D
technical.
is 24/7.
Yeah, it's like, no, listen, we're not making any improvements to the car, but we're changing parts to make it more aerodynamic and better. They're not technically improving it, but they're improving.
Yeah, but so with that being said, obviously Red Bull, it's starting to turn into a bit of a
How you doing?
issue. To be honest, Jesse, did you just have a ghost and fly in front of your camera?
I had a
or-
mosquito fly right in
Florida.
front of my head. Dude.
Ah,
Florida.
welcome to Florida.
State bird of Florida just flew straight
So,
through.
anyways, but yeah, so Red Bull is really now needs to be starting to worry about their constructors championship. I mean,
They
they've
really
got
do.
Care. I don't think they care.
No, I think they care massively. And so the speculation that I've heard on this is it aligns with what everyone was thinking, feeling, and talking about, where Checo was going to be gone after the summer break. But there's some strong allegations afoot that Liberty Media was like, yo, you can't do that because then we lose all of the Mexican viewership, And I think if we've seen anything in this past year, it's exactly how much Liberty Media actually controls Formula One. I mean,
Yeah.
look, Andretti was accepted by Formula One, and Liberty was like, nope. And do we see Andretti out there? No,
No.
we don't. So I think if they were to tell Red Bull, listen, you are going to cost us this amount of revenue, and it's going to be this much of a setback. You must keep him for the end of the year. They're going to be like, okay, that sounds good. So I don't know. I mean, I think they care. I think they really want to keep it, but they also are trying to be realistic with what they're working with right now, and just hoping for the best, which is an interesting strat for such a successful team in the past couple of years. But you got to do what you got to do sometimes.
You don't think they care, Jesse?
It's like, look at other teams, right? And compare what Red Bull has. And I don't know how long you followed F1. Like, do you remember Red Bull when they were like kind of party animals?
When they were
Not
brand
really.
new? Yeah.
Yeah.
David
Like,
Coulthard?
think about-
Hell yeah.
Yeah, like
Those are the good
early
days.
Yeah, the good old days, you know. But you look at other teams, like like Ferrari would chop the head off both their drivers if they had to
Oh, yeah.
win the constructors' championship. That's all that matters at Ferrari, right? And then you look at, unfortunately what happened in 21, but you saw how proud like Mercedes were to still get that 8th consecutive. Like I think because teams like that, especially like the manufacturer teams, there's a little bit there that like Red Bull doesn't make a car. Like is
They
there
did
a
make a
such
car.
Oh, well, they just did actually. We could talk
Yeah.
about that if you wanted to. But I just don't think that's the DNA of the team.
I
at
agree with
Red
that.
Bull. So, and from that, I think they do actually hold the drivers' championship as a little bit more important to them than their constructors' championships when you compare them to other teams. I'm
Well,
sure, of course, they care. Do they? When I say they don't care, I'm saying they don't care as much as Ferrari.
Maybe Ferrari would be the exception. I do think most teams do hold the drivers' championship higher than the constructors' championship. I think they aim for both, but if they can only get one, they go for the drivers' championship because I just
You
feel like
think
it has
even
more weight.
McLaren? I feel like McLaren's been kind of.
Well,
Who's
McLaren
the,
knows that they have the potential, right? So they're trying to even the field and trying to get both drivers up there. Also, it goes a long way for both of your drivers to be race winners. It just adds that extra pep in their step, and they know that they can do it now. So I see them for what they're doing with their strat, but I still think if push came to shove, and they could only guarantee one of their drivers, to continue scoring points, then they would see the Constructors' Championship fall by the wayside quickly and not even really worry about, trying to pursue that. Because at some point, like if both drivers aren't organically at the top anyways, you're going to be sacrificing for that. So there's a point of diminishing returns, 100%. So I think if they can make it work, they will. But if not, it's all about the drivers' championship.
Yeah, well, you see it with their team structure. I mean, you said we have seven winners this year. 3 of the teams, Ferrari, Mercedes, and McLaren, have had both their drivers win races. The only team that hasn't is Red Bull. And if you look at historically the past of Red Bull, they've always had a very clear number one. And seldom have they messed with any sort of like inter-team rivalry. But, probably the Verstappen, early Verstappen, Ricardo situation.
Vettel and Ricardo.
That got a little hot, and I think that burnt them a little bit. And I just think as a team, they just don't want to have that environment. Whereas the manufacturers like McLaren, Mercedes, Ferrari are going to be like, we're going to put the 2 best drivers in the car and see what happens.
Yeah.
They may say there's a number one, like who's who. Like when George first signed on, Lewis was number one, but like
Right.
still they're gonna put the car first.
I'm sorry I got to cut you off here, Jesse. Barrera has been waiting for this podcast to go live. It goes live, and he is just going wild now in the chat, saying
The
McLaren
juice is loose.
McLaren is stupid. Perez isn't winning. That car isn't good enough. Only Max is getting that car to a win. I mean, he is just going off right now.
It's true.
Well, it was true. Perez started P3, right? No, P2, and was what, P4 by turn 3?
Yeah, he was a boat anchor, man.
Yeah, and then where did he even finish? I didn't even care. Like,
7th.
He finished behind Max. I mean,
On
come on, man.
He was the last.
He finished behind Max.
He was the last of the top. What they're calling is Formula A, the top 4 cars.
Yeah.
He was the last. He's the last in Formula A.
All right, so while we're on the point of Perez, we're going to try to segue this into driver changes real quick before we go to the first break. The big one, is we've been talking about it for weeks now. Carlos Sainz is officially going to fucking Williams, guys.
Why do you say fucking Williams? It's a historic team.
I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit how many fucking wins Frank Williams has gotten with that team. Or with that team, technically. But since Frank Williams is gone, they haven't done shit. They didn't do shit at the end of Frank Williams' reign either.
Well, I think they honestly lost a lot when BMW left the sport, because it was Williams BMW for the longest time, if you remember. When Juan Pablo Montoya drove for them, that's what they were. Adrian Newey was their car designer, and they had that crazy like Tusk-looking front end. That didn't work, but they were on the podium a handful of times. They lost that support that they've always had, and they never found anyone to fill that gap. If you look at Williams now, the amount of resources and talent they are pulling to that team, it's only a matter of time. 100%. They're going to get back up there. They just need to figure out their power plant.
Juicy, I find that hard to believe, by the way. Only reason he is going there is because he couldn't get anything else from the higher-up teams. I find that very, very hard to believe with the amount of open seats right now. I just don't think that's the case. I think Williams is under new management, obviously. They have been for, a year and a half now? Almost
something
2
like that,
years.
yeah. Doralton, right?
Yeah, Doralton. I think they threw a shitload of money at Carlos Sainz, and Carlos is like, okay, doesn't matter if I win or lose if I get this big of a paycheck.
I mean, Justin's kind of right, though. He is stuck. Like, Mercedes don't want him, which...
Well, they offered him a 1 year. Red Bull, I don't know if Red Bull offered him a 1 year, but I don't think he could get more than a 1 year contract at any of the big teams, and he was adamant.
Yeah,
he got at least 2 years, and no one would give him that.
I think he saw that one, right? He saw that. He's like, well, if I go to Mercedes and they bring this kid Kimi in, maybe they sit Kimi behind me for a year, and then I'm basically Coach Kimi.
Yep.
Which
I don't see Carlos doing that either.
But going back to my point about Red Bull, look, Red Bull could have easily just said, check out, gone. At the end of the year, we're putting Carlos Sainz. They won't do it. They won't put somebody like that next to Max.
And Justin, you missed the first 10 minutes of this podcast, but we were talking about Liberty Media basically saying that you need to keep Checo in the car because of the Mexican following he's got. So,
anyways, that's the same old point. But a seat at Williams, I don't think is the worst thing.
What was the duration of it?
His contract at Williams.
Mm-hmm. They said multiple years.
3 years, I think.
3.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's solid, and I think if he puts himself there, and then let's just say Kimi Antonelli doesn't work out.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a clause in his contract where he can break out.
Who's in the catbird seat now?
Yeah, that's true.
Carlos Sainz.
I like tacos.
But
juicy.
I think we're gonna end the first segment on Justin Barrera saying I like tacos, guys. When we come back, we're gonna talk a little bit of sim stuff.
You get tacos.
Yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit of sim stuff. We've got some interesting news coming out for any of us fanatic hardware users. We'll talk about that on the other side of the break.
Bye.
Well, guess what? It's about to go to 11. Check out these videos from our sponsors.
I'm holding something up here. See what that thing says on the front of it?
Are you a big fan?
Trash.
Fan of
It
tech?
says
Throw
it's
it in the
about to
bin.
say trash. I mean, look, I've got the freaking all the flappy paddles on the back. You know, it's good. It's a good.
What's that
I
weird
had
quick
that-
release?
I had that same wheel. It served me very well.
It's a good.
Nobody
wheel.
even knows how to pronounce the company's name.
It still serves me well.
Is it
really does.
Fanatic?
Pocket.
Fanatec?
Tell
Something
me.
else that
Nobody
we
knows.
haven't even figured out?
It doesn't
Nobody
have-
knows.
Speaking of
Who
weird quick
knows?
releases, now I can't get it back on. There it is.
You can't find the hole.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick. Indoor AG or Indoor Ag, whatever you want to say, filed for insolvency. That is not bankruptcy. So everybody, please stop fucking saying bankruptcy and all the goddamn discords I'm in.
Well,
because it's not.
It's a
But-
German business, so like everything's called different things, and we're dumb Americans, so we have to water it down and screw it up. That's how we do
So
it.
they filed for insolvency, which basically is allowing them some time to restructure and come back.
Or
What
be
I'm-
sold or
or be
acquired.
sold.
Is that still the case where it was fucking over all the original shareholders and they were pretty much just
Yes.
out their money and
Yes,
then insolvency
everyone's-
lets them just start anew with a fresh slate?
Well,
I-
this kind of it puts their business in acquisition mode, if that makes sense. So,
Yep.
from what I understand, this is the fruition of that fucking over.
Yes.
But the little guy is still getting fucked. Everybody who put
Yes,
money into
100%.
that is
Yeah.
still getting okay.
That's not going to be the same company at the end of this.
Yeah.
But they don't even have a stake in it anymore now that it's going through
Well,
insolvency.
No, but
correct?
that's also the downsides of being owned by a holdings company instead of being your own entity. But you have to understand, how these things start, and maybe that was the best move or the only move for them at the time. So it's
Right.
just the nature of the beast, unfortunately.
Now, I don't know if anybody knows what other companies Indoor AG holds, but obviously because we're sim racers, Fanatec or Fanatic are the big ones. It's scary to say the least, right? Like let's talk about what happens from here on out. Obviously, they're going to get acquired by somebody else. Yeah, exactly. So does that mean
Fanatec's cheap.
mean there's going to be super cheap Fanatec sales, which people are going to jump on? But what happens to the software?
Well, I mean, the software is probably going to get maintained by a group of developers who no longer have jobs, because that's probably going to be a passion thing for them, because it won't take much to do whatever. There's not going to be updates, right? Because the functionality is already pre-baked in, and maybe just some quality of life things as games and other things progress. But you can't add new things to a wheel that's already been out.
Right.
So I don't know. I think that'll be okay, but at the same time, I don't think the software has really ever been the issue. I think Fanatic, whatever.
Customer service is ass, dude.
It's always been ass.
Who here has it? Who's got Fanatec stuff right now?
I got rid of it.
I
for that
technically
reason. I
own-
bought your old one, you asshole.
So that takes us both on the list. I've had plenty of their stuff.
I
I'd
have
say
Club
who-
Sport
who
V3s.
yeah.
You have V3s now?
No, well, I still
I
own
do
them, but
have
I don't
V3s.
use them because I have issues. I've not had a single friend that I know who's owned a Fanatec anything that didn't have an issue with it.
I guess I'm not your friend then.
Well, we're more than friends, Adam.
I haven't had a single problem. I've had this setup, this DD1 with the V2 wheel and the Club Sport V3 inverted wheel pedals for, God, man, 5 years now. Not a single fucking problem.
He's not driving it
Not
hard
a
enough.
single problem.
How many wins do you have, Adam? I don't think you're driving it hard enough.
Apparently.
You need to shut up.
Yeah. Drive more. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. It's annoying to me that, I mean, when you've got people that have I don't know if there's any good way to go about how they did it. Let's be honest. I mean, they probably still had stuff up on their website until the day that they said, "Hey, we're filing for insolvency." How do you handle that with your? I mean, the customer relations department is probably losing their fucking minds right now. That whole server is on fire, to say the least.
I mean, it had been on fire, and they probably just couldn't say anything for the longest time. So it was probably one of those things where maybe they still hate their lives, but they're happy that they can at least tell you why. So instead of this like, we're just doing what we can kind of a deal, now it's like, yeah, listen, you read the news, right? So maybe it's a little bit of a sigh of relief, but also I'm sure most of them are looking for new jobs.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's huge. I mean, I'm sure Fnatic, obviously being a German company, it doesn't matter. They still have a shitload of people employed around the world for them. They have to.
Well, and not to mention all the sponsorship deals,
Right.
Looking at
Fanatec GT3.
SRO, GT World Series.
And iRacing. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, those window banners on every GT3 car in those fucking races say Fanatec.
Well,
exactly.
I mean, yeah, it's one thing in
Probably for a little
iRacing, but think of the brick and mortar real life series that are depending on those sponsorship dollars to literally remain an entity. That's huge when a sponsor that big pulls out, when they're the title sponsor of the series.
The sponsors come and go.
They do, right? But there's always that stress point where, okay, who's going to step up? Are they going to fill the shoes? Or are they going to make the shoes smaller? Are they going to cut the feet? Or are they going to have big old clown shoes and do all kinds of crazy shit? Like, it could be the death of a series, and it could also be the blossoming of a series. You just never know until it happens.
I mean,
All right, Eric.
Before they were Fanatec GT3 series, what was it? It was Blancpain, right?
Yes, Blancpain, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like, didn't get another one of those.
Yeah.
So here's what's going to happen, Eric. I'm coming to you now. I am going to take my wheelbase, my wheel, my pedals, disconnect them, pick them up, take them out to the fucking curb, set them on the side of on my sidewalk, and put a sign that says free across them.
Nice.
Okay? That's what I'm going to do. But because that's what they're going to be fucking worth here in about 2 years, if that. They're not worth shit now anymore anyways.
Probably.
I want to come to you because I drove your rig and I've drove J Hall's rig, and I will say you, sir, have a very, very, very nice setup. So give us your rig details. Give us your wheelbase, give us your pedals, the wheels you're using, what you got, and that 60-20 rig you got. I mean, that 60-20
80-40.
Oh, it's the 80-20. What is it?
Man, okay, so
Thickness, right?
yeah, it's thick with 3 C's, or actually 4 C's, because it's 80-40. Because I didn't want that bad boy to flex at all. So I have an ASR 4, Advanced Sim Racing 4, 80-40, 80-20, whatever you want to call it. The kit, and I've added a bunch of shit onto it. But as far as my wheelbase and pedals and all that stuff goes, got to give a massive shout out to the man, the myth, the legend, Bradley Alvis, because that man basically sponsored those parts for me. I paid him, but I paid friend prices for those things. So what I'm running is a VRS Direct Force Pro, I think is what it's called, wheelbase, and I think that bad boy does like 23 Newton meters, which is perfect. I also, when I got that wheelbase, acquired a Gomez Sim Industry GSI wheel with a touchscreen LED. Sorry for bumping the mic. And that thing is also pretty badass. Beyond that, I just have like an eBay wheel on an NRG quick release, and I do have a Sparco Thrustmaster wheel on like an adapter, which kind of sucks. I don't really use it. Pedals, Once again, also from Bradley. I purchased them at a separate time. They are the Heusinkveld Sprints. But what I did to them to make them feel even better than they did, part of my sim rig cockpit is I got an additional pedal platform where I take the pedals off of the platform that Heusinkveld supplies, and I literally bolt them straight to the rig. I can do my own spacing and all of that, and that made such a difference, and they're phenomenal. I'm still kind of dialing in the elastomers because I like to have a little bit more travel with the brake. I'm just used to like street cars kind of. So like I'm still trying to figure that part out. But yeah, it feels very intuitive to go from the sim to the car. There was a time where if I was driving on my sim and would immediately jump in the car and go somewhere, like my brain would freak out and it would feel so weird. But what's weird now is how weird it doesn't feel. It feels almost too comfortable. So I find myself, kind of playing around here and there and being like too confident, but then also backing it up. So like I'm not learning any lessons here. So it's one of those things, man.
I saw that. Yeah, you saw that too, Adam.
Wait, what?
Look in the comments.
No, Barrera. I mean, God, Barrera, the juice is loose on a Friday night, man.
We need to have Juicy on here, man.
Oh, we need to.
Juicy, do you have a camera?
Bad.
What the fuck is going on?
I made my 80/20 rig. Was gonna buy one.
This was Juicy's comment that Adam's reading.
But a friend gave me a guide for his virginity protector sim rig plans.
I love it. I can only imagine how intricate that is and how many pillows are involved.
And like, where's the fleshlight mounted?
But no, seriously,
drive just.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this live right now and tell you, Eric. Please send me the specs because I'm definitely going to buy something as close as possible to the way that thing feels. It is amazing, especially that fucking wheel with that wheelbase, dude. It feels so good. It's perfect. It really is.
I've gotten to drive on a handful of DDs now, and I really got to say, shout out to VRS because they are really kind of the underdogs in the direct drive world. No one really cares, runs them, whatever. And the people who do, I kind of see complaints. But, I mean, I do a lot of drifting. I do GT3s. I do Formula 1 here and there. And it's sick on all of them. I have different profiles to kind of make it so. But I don't think I'm ever going to buy another wheelbase. Like, I see CityCube and all that, and it's like, okay, that's cool and expensive, but, like, I don't understand how it's better than what I've got, I'm sure you could quantify it, but...
that direct drive, use your spare wheelbase.
Chats are going wild now. We got the chat going nuts. So did Eric get the Roadhead attachment for his rig? That's the only thing he's missing, Kevin. That is it. Yeah, honestly. But yeah, let's move from that to, because we now have Kevin in the chat. Let's move from that to the SimCard GT3 last night, J Hall.
Oh yeah, did you catch it?
Did I? Yeah. What do you mean? Yeah, I caught it, dude. I was broadcasting it, asshole.
Yeah, I saw your chat come through at some point.
Yeah.
But dude, I almost pulled it off. Except for the last.
You never had it. You never had your car.
80% of the race, except for the last 80%. I had it.
The last 80%.
Locked. I had it locked.
How do you almost have it for 20% of the race?
So there was.
What had happened was.
Yeah, let me say it from my side because obviously as the broadcaster, there was going into the final. I don't know. It's MLS, whatever the last two corners are. I'm not good at corner names, but going into those corners, you were getting swallowed up. The Mustang, you could tell, was starting to struggle. Okay.
To put some context to it, I was playing the game because I know I'm not as fast as these guys. So my only goal was to come in 8th place in the sprint, so I could get inverted grid, be first in the feature, see how long I can hold it out. And that's exactly what I did. I qualied 8th. I finished 8th in the sprint, set up first place, and I'm like, I'm going to see how long I can hold this bitch. But those dudes are so much faster than me. I was just blowing the tires off. Because I think it was around 15 minutes of a 45 that I lost it. I was in first until that point, and then I was making little mistakes, I gave up one position and was just like, I'm just gonna follow him. And then there was a whole pack on me. Net code got bodied out a little bit.
You're saying all kinds of stuff that I want to get to. First of all,
It was all net code, but
it was.
It's tough when you get that close to racing, man.
Yeah, that gap that you
It meatballed me. It meatballed me for like just a tiny little fender tap, like in the same direction. We weren't even like, but yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I tried.
So we'll talk about the incident first. Then it looked like netcode on the stream, so we got it right there. There was definitely some netcode. Yeah, there was some netcode. I
talked to Matt after the race.
Yeah,
everything's all good. Yeah, it was just hard racing, and iRacing couldn't support it.
Yeah, so that
how
is
much we pay. It's a travesty. I can race so much closer in a Seto course and never have that problem. Explain that iRacing.
So there's the netcode issue, but let's talk about the 3 second or the 1.5 second gap that you had out in front. You weren't conserving those tires, Jay Hall.
That's what I'm saying. I blew the doors off that Mustang. I was working my hardest to stay out there, and it fucked me, but hey, I had 15 minutes to lead.
Yeah, it did. 15 minutes in the lead. That is your 15 minutes of fame right there, Jay Hall.
Yeah,
15 minutes, my friend.
I'll tell you, that's my only chance is the invert grid. I'm just gonna keep gunning for that 8th place. Did you notice how many Mustangs got bumped up? None of the Mustangs are in the front of the pack, but with the inverted grid, nothing but Mustangs up there.
There's something to be said about you holding steadfast and everybody else holding steadfast to this fucking Mustang that I still cannot understand.
It's not horrible. I'm getting better at it. I'm getting better.
Yeah, but it's such a piece of shit car to drive.
Listen, he's whipping that lame horse into submission. That's what it is.
So all right. So Jay Hall's been driving the Mustang now for the season.
At least, 3 or 4 weeks. Mm-hmm.
Since the season started, right? We're pretty far into the season already.
Yeah, I've missed a few, but
I mean, so you
in OMAC
front engine rear wheel drive was your thing. You always drove the M4.
M4, yeah,
wherever. So to me, this should be easy transition to a different car. What do you think about the Mustang?
It's funny. In the beginning, I was saying it is an M4. It is an M4. It's the same platform. The geometry, everything is probably the most similar. But it does actually feel more like the Mercedes. You have to be able to have very, very fine motor skill control of the brake. The margin of error for the Mustang is very low. That Porsche, you could trail brake at 30%, 10%, 5%, whatever. And it's you're going to get through it. That Mustang you have to be dialed or it's going to fucking wreck you.
Really? Does the rear come around? What does it do dynamically if you're not on it?
It does kind of snap a little bit. You can't drop the brakes fast. You have to drop the brakes really slow, and trail braking has to be done 5% or less. It has to be.
I wonder if it's the packaging, because I know they got that engine super far back, and then they put they did a transaxle in the rear like most of them do.
No, it's transit.
Yeah, so I wonder if they just got that engine so far back where it just kind of loses those FR dynamics.
Yeah,
setups are making a huge deal too, because this platform just coming out, setups are kind of on the fly developed, I feel. And there's a massive difference right now between the fixed set for the Mustang and some of these custom sets that I'm driving are I feel like I can dance with it. And then I go back on the fixed set and it feels kind of just like an understeery fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, but maybe the understeer.
The engine is further back in the Mustang than in the BMW.
I think, you know what? I have the same revelation in that vein this year, driving the Corvette and this fixed in OMAC, driving it fixed. The diff is so jacked in a couple of the settings in the car from what the sets are that you can get.
It's too aggressive, locks up too quick.
I just wonder how much time they spent putting in the fixed sets and letting them work it. Right? Probably not a good idea. I mean, usually the first car or the new car or cars are OP that first year, but in a fixed league, I don't know if it's advantageous, but the Corvette is not. It's the same thing. You put it on a custom tune, night and day. Pleasure to drive. Fun car.
Well,
the fixed setup, the fixed setup.
Well, let's talk about that though. I mean, it's this is where I kind of get a little bit weird, right? So the 15-minute sprint race that SimCar put on last night was good. You could tell the Mustangs were good for those 15 minutes. And Jesus, I mean, they say that car is the most underpowered they have in iRacing, but that thing will fucking fly going down the straightaway. I mean, it's gone. Even the Porsches couldn't get by him, but the Porsches always caught him in the corners. Doesn't matter, whatever. 15 minutes. You go to that 45-minute race, most of these guys have open setups. They have gotten setups from somewhere. Most of them had it set up pretty well. You could tell at the start of the race those Mustangs were quick. But then it came time, the meat and potatoes, let's say. That we got into the meat and the potatoes of the race. And all of a sudden, the Mustangs, like Kevin said, just started lighting the rear tires up. And like Justin said, a lot of that probably has to do with the engine being further back, but a lot of it has to do, maybe that fixed setup isn't so bad. It's understeery because it's going to get oversteery. There were a couple guys in the Lambos last night that were not fast at the beginning, and they became very, very quick at the end, maybe for that reason.
He also had to start like it. He was one of the, you talking about, what's his name, Hutchinson?
Yes.
Because he had to start in, 7th or 8th and work his way up. That dude was like, when he was on my tail, I could not believe the rate that Lambo was catching me. Through some of those corners, like, it's like the Mustang would have to have grip hacks to be able to plant the way that Lambo was. Like,
The Lambo's actually a really kind of sticky car this season. I don't know
Yeah.
what they did. I don't know what they did to it, but I've seen a lot of people carry good speed with that car.
It's time for the Lambros again, I think.
Yep, bringing out the
But
Lambros.
probably going to get a new one because that was leaked a little while ago.
That's true.
I think this season after well, I mean I just looked. I think we're in week 8 of this season, so we're 2/3 through it. So that would be about 5 weeks out. They leaked an Evo of the Lambo. So we should be getting a new one.
Oh,
yeah, all things considered, the BOP is not bad. It's not bad. Like,
I think it's awesome.
you can like some of these guys, once you start getting to like these top 5% of iRacing guys, like it does get a little bit tough, and there is a meta, but like any of them are viable to an extent. Like if you can drive, you can drive.
J-Hall, a bit of information for you. You now have Chandler Rubeck now in the pro class. It sounds like Rubeck has moved up. So technically, Bogart, you didn't win last night because he moved up clearly today, Bogart, but nice try. Or he would have interviewed you. But yeah, Bogart took second last night in the AM, so should be a little bit more interesting. And Chandler Rubeck is not a slow driver either. I mean, you are racing with a bunch of very, very, very fast fucking guys in that league, J Hall. I will tell you that.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm barely faster than the AMs. Like I'm just like just ahead of the amateur field here. It's like there's no slouches. Like.
All right, guys, let's take a break. On the other side of the break, we're going to talk real car stuff. We've got Eric Leitsky in his continued struggles and sagas in his 350. We will be right back.
Grandma D's Stainless Hardware Tools and Nuts. Here at Grandma D's, we are the real deal. No parodies, because trust me, you can only handle one of me. We are excited to announce a new tool collab with Bofa Industries. We expect a bright and prosperous future moving forward as Bofa D's. Philip D's, our founder, celebrated 55 years in business this year. That is a legacy D's nuts can be proud of. Grandma D's stainless hardware, made with the highest quality. You can never over-tighten D's nuts.
All right, guys, we are back for the final break, and as you can see, I've got a.
You love it, Juicy.
I've got a friend with me here. Juicy asked me what the AI stuff is.
Sorry.
Yeah, speaking of Badger, this is Badger. Everybody meet Badger, named after Danny Ricciardo. Oh, is he trying to? He's got his paw on the mic.
He's just repositioning the mic, dog.
Next season, are you getting rid of that dog?
Bars.
But let's talk about you for just a little bit here, Eric. When I was down there, it was 98 degrees.
Let's just say 1,000. Let's just round it up to 1,000.
Yeah, what it feels like.
Yeah.
It felt like 1,000. God damn, Badger. It felt like 1,000 in your car. Oh my God! Hang on.
Yeah, listen. So my Tree Fitty is a race car. It's got engine swaps and all this stuff. And one of the last things that I need to get working on it is air conditioning. It's not really a big deal.
About that.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I was down there, you said, "Oh, it's just a simple part. It's a super easy part, simple part." I think you and J Hall tried to fix it this weekend.
Isn't it always? It's a 30-minute job. 8 hours later, just. What the fuck is going on with our lives?
To be fair,
20 minutes tops.
Yeah. So
how'd that AC fixing go?
So here's what had happened.
Holy shit! Now look at what's going on in J Hall's mic right now. Holy fuck!
Yeah, man. Listen, it's the seat.
There's a tiger.
He got the seat from someone who's a magnet.
They are part Bengal.
Oh my God. Anyways, AC.
So, like I was telling you, I'm pretty sure that the pressure switch in the compressor went bad. So
is that the problem?
I think it's confirmed the problem now because what we decided to do, just to further troubleshoot it, we decided to fill it up with more Freon to see if we can get the compressor to kick on. And once we had that bad boy way overpressured and it still wasn't kicking on, we're like, okay, it is for sure the switch. This was after an extremely hot day outside and us kind of like screwing around.
134 inhalation.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah, I probably have superpowers.
My
Everybody's fine.
It's normally low, but I'm rock bottom right now.
Yeah, I mean, we're in America and we saw Freon, so we're like, yeah, we're free on this country, so we should be able to drink this. And now I have COVID.
The Freon gave him COVID.
Yeah. So
you definitely think it's the pressure switch.
The car.
I do.
The car gave you COVID.
Why didn't you just change the pressure switch?
So the pressure switch, I did try to, and so the way that this has been designed is, it is, I don't have it in here anymore. I did before, but basically there's a little C-clip that holds this switch inside the compressor, and you have to like get like some channel locks or like a vice grip on this little like nub that is recessed up in this thing, so you can't get like a good grip on it. You have to yank it out. And I was trying to do this in the car around an extended and baffled oil pan, and it just did not have the clearance. And then I had a small fear that if I take this out and the one I have is the wrong one, then now I'm kind of stuck a little bit. So
you were stuck anyways.
Well, I wasn't actually, because I didn't disassemble anything. So like the car would run and drive just fine. I wouldn't have to worry about anything. So I elected, due to how the day was going and my current luck, to just put a little teensy pause on it and maybe revisit it this weekend when I have a spare compressor. So
that's what we need.
Yeah,
I think we just got to do it all. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that way I can just take it out of the car. Pull
we
the
tried
switch.
to jump it.
Yeah, we did.
We tried to bypass it and it wasn't really.
But J-Hole, and that's what Barrera was saying. Could have just bypassed it to see if it starts and blows cold.
We tried.
We did that actually, and that was kind of where we arrived at the conclusion that this is in fact internal to the compressor, and the only component that can fail in the compressor is in fact that pressure switch. And it makes sense because I would see the pressure just continuously building too. So just kind of made the educated decision to not push it further and potentially fuck something else up worse.
AC works sucks, man. Like
It does. There's a lot of components. And there's
house or car, and I got my shit boxes have AC issues too, man. And I'm just about to. Actually, I have a lot of things I need to do on my cars, and I'm thinking I'm just gonna give it to somebody. Like I have acquired most of the parts to do the jobs.
Dude,
as I get older, I see the value in that more and more.
I'm just like, dude, right now I don't have the time. Like I love wrenching.
Time or money, like there's like whatever
but then,
the balance is.
There's a third component. There's absolutely a third component because there's trust, right? You have to be able to take your vehicle to someone who's not going to do a piece of shit job because there's so many shit mechanics out there nowadays. I don't trust most of you. I'm sorry.
I don't know. We exist.
I will tell you though, like it's one of those things. I was before we came on air. I was talking about my truck, and I've got a Chevy Colorado that I lifted, and I put new UCAs on it, but the LCAs are still the original LCAs, and I am just chewing through front tires. Like I put new front tires on it a year ago.
You going like fancy all-terrains on there?
Oh yeah, I put BFG KO2s on it.
That sucks. Yeah, you can't be wearing those out. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
you can't be wearing those out.
It's like they're good tires. The backs still look pretty new. The fronts, the outsides, they still have, the little rubber pieces that go in between the treads. They're
People
still on
flip off-road tires. Do they flip all-terrains like they do for stance cars?
Why not?
Just do that.
I mean, most shops won't flip tires for stance cars. So if you find a place that flips it for stance cars, they would flip anything. You know what I mean?
Right, that's true. But
they would stretch them too.
With that being said, it's one of those things that it's like, do I really want to put in the time to get underneath the car, replace the LCAs?
Yes.
Yeah, replace the LCAs, okay? Then I've got to replace the alignment bolts, and I've got to do all of this shit. Or can I just drive it somewhere and have them do all of it and align it instead of me replacing all that shit and then having to take it to an alignment shop and have them align it? Man, it's really starting to sound pretty great. It's really starting to sound, okay, Jesse. It's starting to sound pretty great to just drop my truck off at some lifted truck dealer in Reno, Nevada, have them deal with it, and me and my wife hop in her fucking car, and we go eat lunch and hang out, do a bit of gambling, have a couple drinks, come back, and my truck's done, and I can drive it home.
How much is that repair cost that you got to go gambling to?
That's true. No, I don't know, man. I feel like it's gambling anytime you go to the mechanic.
Papa needs a new alternator.
Right.
I would probably lose the money that I'm going to pay the mechanic at gambling, so we might just keep it away from the gambling.
I would assume mine's going to be gone for more than a few hours, but like it's a not a primary vehicle anyway, so like
there you go. Who cares?
I found a shop that I trust. So now I've just been debating, like, listen, man,
that's the hardest part.
Get to this stuff, and I don't have the time, and all I can do, like, I've already filled the trunk up with all the parts that are ready. Like,
oh yeah,
hell yeah. So what are your projects, Jesse? What would you have put on it?
Oh, I have a fucking list. Hang on.
Oh yeah, let's hear the list. By the way, viewers, comment if you would like us to do like a weekend wrenching segment, talk about our real life projects. Because let me tell you, other than Adam, I think the three of us work on all kinds of stuff, have multiple vehicles, so that topic is evergreen, and we'd love to hear about submissions.
They all run like shit.
No,
They're always working on them.
They run.
They run.
Listen, the other day I moved all three of my cars. I drove all three of my cars.
Even the one with the fucking crack in the engine block?
No, it doesn't have a crack in the engine block. It has a blown head gasket. And it smoked out like the whole neighborhood, and it was awesome.
Hell yes.
All right. On the E30, things to do. It needs a timing belt.
That's important.
Yes. I want to do
swap it. It's time.
I want to do a steering rack swap. I've already acquired the
Z3 rack.
The Z3 1.9 is sitting in the car with all the associated parts for the job, all the ins and outs, and nut and bolt, the whole job.
Okay. Did you upgrade the bushings on that rack as well?
So, well, it's still it's a stock. Well, no, it's a stock one, but I have tie rods and bushings and all that.
Okay, cool.
It needs an oil filter. I have all the parts for this too. It needs an oil filter housing gasket. It needs to be resealed. It's leaking. there. The AC has got a refrigerant leak. I've been able to track down. I think it's in the compressor. Great. That probably needs a new AC compressor since we're talking about those.
30 minutes.
I'm pretty sure it's weeping oil from the rear main seal.
Oh, okay.
Bitch.
Neighbor.
That's
How,
a bitch.
How easy is it to pull that trans?
The E30, it's not terrible.
Okay, good amount of room in the tunnel.
Well,
to
is
get
it
to
like the
top bolts?
E36 where you have to thread a fucking million extension torque sockets to somehow get to the
Oh my
transmission
god, you
from the
got
back?
shit. I've done that too.
I mean, that's
It
most
takes like 4
transmissions.
feet of them. It takes
Yeah.
like 4 feet of them for an E36.
Yeah, they put those trans tunnels kind of tight.
I want to redo the suspension. It's on some older springs and shocks, and I just want to throw like fresh conies, like basically just a coil
Coney
over.
adjustables. That'll get you enough traction to get the whole shot.
Yeah, what's the what's the hot ticket for the E30? So it's always the coilovers with the conies and the anyways, ground control. That's the one.
Yes, the ground control. Those are good.
These rear camera bushings, that's going to require alignment. The header guards need replacing. It came with an extra set of injectors set up for a tune. They've never been put in. The car probably needs tires. And if they're going to go into the rear main seal, might as well do a fucking clutch. It's the original
Honestly.
clutch
Oh,
on
okay.
a 34-year-old car with 180,000 miles.
Would you put like
might
a
as well
stock clutch back in, or would you do like a puck?
No. So stock clutch. And then since they're there, like have them put a diff in it.
Okay. Is it
Oh,
is it
that's
one wheel
gonna-
peel right now?
It's a
What's the
370
go-to move with E30s for an LSD?
Well, I mean, it depends how much you want to spend. I can
Well,
either
is
just,
So
there any,
aftermarket, you can't get an
Retrofitting
OEM.
of an E36?
oh yeah,
already?
I mean, I could spend a couple $100 and get a used OEM one because they were very common.
That's what I
in
did for my
E30.
E36. Yeah. just
Or I
put
could
M-
spend $5,000 on a custom. setup.
Quafe or something.
Like, what do I want to spend?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, so most
Look at
LSDs.
Barrera's. Look at that. Yeah, you guys got to look at Barrera's chats, guys. I'm so sorry.
Hell yeah.
I have Coney adjustables on eBay. On eBay, coilover springs. What bump
Well-
stops? I smashed them top hats.
Hell yeah. I wonder what the spring rates are on that. Wait, this is on your Miata and you smash top hats? Those things weigh like 5 pounds. How many pillows do you have in that to weigh it down?
Anyways, that's the to-do list along with a couple other odds and ends stuff that need doing. Looking at so
Hell yeah. Okay, that's a solid. That's going to be a totally refreshed car at the end of it.
like do I, I have everything for all those jobs I pretty much have, unless it's one of those while you're in there situations.
I never do that, right, Justin?
But a clutch could be while we're in there if it is rear main seal leak.
I think I have an unofficial nickname, especially when working on cars, and that is Captain Scope Creep.
All right,
So-
J Hall.
But with this punch list, like, do I do it myself and just work at it? Is it going to take me 6 months? Is it going to take me a year and 6 months? Is it going to take me never?
Once
Or
it
do I
hits a
just
certain
go-
point, it just gets too
Do I
daunting.
just
And
brought them up and just be like, listen, man, I
Yeah.
do not have the time to do all this. Get it done when you get done. It's all the parts are there. If there's nothing there, just get it.
Yeah. No, that's kind of where I've gotten to. I mean, life gets in the way, right? I mean, that's kind of what I'm starting to run into now as well.
Oh,
When I
yeah.
was younger, I had
Remember
plenty
when I
of
was
time
20
to
and
do
I
it.
slept 4 hours, I would run to the car
Exactly.
4 hours a night.
Yeah. No, yeah. When I was younger, I had plenty of time to do that shit. Now it's just you don't have that time anymore, which is unfortunate. But last person we got to go to now is J Hall. That Beamer. You ever gonna get that fucking thing? Are you ever gonna close the hood on that, or is it just stay open for the rest of its life?
it was open. Everything on it is honestly pretty solid. It's telematic. It's daily driven the past like 2 out of 3
Listen,
years.
that car is so incredible.
Eric daily drove that
Wait, so
for
I
like
did.
2 years.
What's that setup, Joe? Is it E36 M3?
No, 328 IS with M3 LSD oils. Has the
Oil
ZF
328.
trans.
IS. Nice car.
That car is a unicorn because no matter how much J Hall or I neglect it, it just starts up. Other than right now, but I think it's just tired. We need to like tickle it a little bit, and then it's gonna start right up and be like, okay, cool. It's a fantastic car.
You're the meat in our BMW sandwich. I have E30 and E46. You're right there in the middle.
The
I know, man.
E36.
I'm looking now at the because I'm commuting a fuckload right now for work. I'm on the road like 2 hours a day, so I think I'm looking at a 335D, like either a
Get the D, man.
A92 or F30. Was that the generation after it?
Yeah,
Like a 2012 or so.
Those diesels, man, they run. But
What about them?
you better put an oil pan underneath, like a drip pan underneath them.
Oh, they leak bad?
Yeah, I've heard.
Well, they're probably like helicopters, right? They leak so that you know that there's oil in them, and it's only when they don't leak that you need to be worried.
That's when you gotta worry.
Oil.
Yeah, it's a feature.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
not
keep
a
telling
bother.
myself that too, but yeah, I need to put because the biggest bitch is I have the Genesis has like my daily. It's been reliable at the track. It's
That thing is
it just
nice.
needs a little because it's still relatively new. It's like a 2016. I love that I say that's new. That's like 10 years old now, but new enough that you don't have to constantly fix shit. Like it's good, but
E30's at 90.
yeah,
Kevin
and the
goes, "I get
E36 is
55."
like.
That's late model.
And then I just keep buying
Really?
parts for it. Like I have all the subframe bushings, the diff bushings, rear, front control arm bushing, new instrument cluster. I have like all this shit for the E36.
I did
but
so
it's
much.
just the
We gotta do
time, man. It's the time, man.
Work on my E36 M3, man. I knew that platform pretty well by the time I got done with it.
Yeah, I mean,
Kevin said he
honestly,
gets-
it's relatively easy for a BMW. It's like right before kind of everything was a clusterfuck. There's some
Everything's
annoying
analog.
parts of E36s, but for the most part, they're not bad to work on.
E46 is a lot like E36.
Mm-hmm.
It's
okay.
it's
A lot of crossover.
very common. It just feels like it. Working on my ZHP, it feels exactly like working on my E36 M3.
I mean, we've
more digital things, but not much.
we've pretty much done everything on that E36 except for pulling the engine, and I don't think we really had an issue doing any of it. Other than
I hope we don't have to pull the fucking engine on that.
no, I mean I don't think it'd be hard to do so.
Hey, you guys want to go in on some S54s? I want an S54 everything. You guys want to get one too?
God.
Honestly,
be
you
dope.
should do that. That would be sick. Slap a little yin yang spinny thing on there.
Honestly, I
little
don't, how hard is
Nagasaki
it to get
noisemaker.
those,
Little
just- oh, you
Hiroshima
boost
rod crusher.
little CX turbo kit or whatever the fucking eBay shit
Yes.
is, and just send it,
Yes.
throw it on some
Supercharged on it.
E85 and send it to the moon.
Yes.
So my buddy told me after my warranty got up on my truck, he goes, "You need to throw a little Whipple on there." I was like, "I am not supercharging this fucking truck, dude. There's no fucking way I'm gonna do
Think
that."
of that
Fucking
sound.
Whipple.
That was so
yeah.
awesome, dude.
Yeah.
It's so loud. What about a Kenny Bell? Even louder.
On a fucking V6.
It doesn't matter what it's on.
Keep the
It's
exhaust
loud.
quiet. Keep the exhaust well mannered, and just have that supercharger ring out.
I would put a
There's nothing
supercharger on my 350Z. That's a V6. What are you trying to say, buddy?
I would supercharge the VHP in a fucking heartbeat.
Yeah. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
In fact,
Yeah,
I
It makes a
made
great
about it.
driver's car, honestly. Especially
Oh,
if
yeah,
you
until you
autocross,
fucking
gonna do
throw a
shit
rod.
like that.
But-
Supercharger.
Whipple, like the root style, that's a lot, right? Just
Yeah.
go centrifugal, because that's almost like a bolt-on extra 100, 200 horsepower. And then it's easier for heat management, too, because it's not sitting on top of your engine. It's usually like somewhere off to the side or tucked in, depending on how the kit is.
Yeah, it's gonna be honestly, if you only have 5 cylinders instead of 6, it probably will cool down much quicker as one of them are going through the hood of my truck. But with
You're gonna let
that
some
being
oil
said,
with that, too.
right? With that being said, guys, hey, we're gonna have to call it. It is 7:30 at night here. I have to do
Damn,
some.
you're
things.
still awake?
Yeah, I know, dude. I'm
Holy
turning
shit.
into an old man.
Papa
boys. But,
Adam.
Holy shit.
Wuhan war whistle from Kevin Bogart. By the way, that's a good one as well. Also, Kevin did say he gets 55 miles per gallon in his TDI. J Hall, if you ever want to go the
you go.
Volkswagen route.
What do you say? Just a Golf TDI?
TDI and the BMW diesels are kind of par for par, from what I understand. I mean, maybe Volkswagen does it slightly better.
Not power, like because that's talking about like a little. What's
No,
their
I
diesel,
mean just
1.8?
efficiency. Just efficiency. Not
Is
power.
it-
You don't buy a diesel and look at the power. That's the truck. And you don't look at the power. You look
Those
at the torque.
335 diesels are like coming 300 wheel horse, 500 wheel torque with like
The torque
very
is
little work.
nuts.
Yeah.
The torque is
I
nuts.
want to
with it.
autocross a diesel so bad. And just
Honestly.
roll it like roll coal.
That'd be sick. That'd be awesome.
I've never
Straight out,
seen it
just
done.
fucking pipe it straight out of the hood, dude. Just
Oh, I've
fucking
seen it.
send it.
I've seen people bring diesels to Martins before, and like,
Yeah.
you see it. I'm pretty sure I saw a BMW diesel a while back, and yeah,
Yeah,
he
Kevin
was-
said it makes Kevin said it makes 250 horse, 400 torque. So I mean, those
perfect.
are insane numbers.
Wait, his TDI?
That's what he said.
No. What?
Yeah.
Kevin, what year is your TDI? Is this like a new shit type thing? I thought those old TDIs were literally like.
All right, guys, we're
horse.
gonna stop the podcast now. So for all the podcast listeners, thank you so much for listening. We're gonna hang out in the YouTube and talk about Kevin's TDI. See you guys next week.
Check us out on Fridays.
All right, now we got to talk about your TDI, Kevin. Now we got Justin a little bit interested here, I think. So what is it?
Is it a TDI? TDI? Never mind. I was gonna make like an STD joke, but I couldn't flip it just right.
Oh no, he's running out of dad jokes, guys. We
Big
finally
turbo, fuel pump and injector. What kind of fuel mileage does it still get with that?
He said 55.
So I noticed
with those mods, it still gets 55.
sometimes, yeah, it increases the efficiency so much that it just has to work less to do the same. You know, there was a point peak efficiency in my Speed 6 where it was mostly bolt-ons, but it still had like the top mount. I was living in Tennessee where it was cooler, where I was getting 35 to like 40 miles per gallon sometimes, which just blew my mind. But then I switched
You
to
get crazy gas mileage in it now.
ALH.
Yeah, I do.
It hasn't burned a drop.
I get about 5 gallons per 5 years.
All right, J Hall. ALH 2002. He said.
Yeah, that seems like a lot for that car, is it not?
Barrera said I would drive a TDI. Drove one to Florida. Got around 50. So I mean,
There's like something in me that just like it's hurting me giving up driving a some of those TDIs are still manual, aren't they though?
Yeah,
Because that was my only. What's that?
You're just driving it. Do you even want a manual?
Yeah.
If I drive an automatic, I would
Because-
fall asleep
just
and kill
because
everyone on the
I-
road.
Feel like yeah.
Yeah. Like, but none of the 335 diesels are manual.
Lame. Are they flappy paddle at least? Probably not.
They are, but like I don't know how real that is. It's just like an electric.
That's true.
Single
So
thing.
it's like you hit it and like 5 seconds later, it's like.
or it'll automatically
like-
shift if you get it revved too high. It'll automatically shift for you.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
No, don't blow your engine.
He
Let's
said
shift.
it's manual. It's an actual manual.
That makes sense. Volkswagen tends to have more manual offerings.
Yeah.
You want to buy a ZHP in like 4 months?
There you go.
All right, guys.
What are you selling it for?
Feel free to hang out.
Not-
Hang out with the chat if you want to. But if nobody wants to hang out with the chat, I am calling it a night. It is now 7:25. I still have to eat, and I've got to go to bed. I'm about to fall asleep in my chair over here. So,
Oh, bless his little heart.
He didn't even have time to do his hair. God
no,
damn.
I didn't, dude.
I didn't do my
It
hair
looks
either.
better. Honestly, right now it looks fucking fresh. You look like that's like every like 5-year-old's dream haircut.
Oh yeah, I look like the fucking emo rocker kid, right? Hang on, let me get the bangs down here a little bit here.
He's gonna go perform for Hawthorne Heights.
How could this happen to me?
Okay, before you go though, Adam, I need you to help judge who has the better hairstyle tonight. Is it me or Jesse?
Justin. Good night, guys.
Good night, buddy. Oh man,
I'm gonna clip that face into something.
hell yeah!
He gave me too much ammo right there. He's still searching for that exit.
Yeah,
I
he
am.
is.
I'm trying to go to the backstage here. Okay, bye.
Bye bye. We're gonna still hear him until he hangs up on the Discord call, though. Oh shit! Now the audience knows our secret. Okay, hell yeah! A custom turbo. Oh, nice. Okay, so it's not just a bigger compressor wheel inside the stock housing. That's what a lot of people do.
So what horsepower and torque would it just like a stock TDI make?
Those are on
Or
the
like,
lower
if-
end. I think
if I
like
had
180 or so
a TDI
horsepower.
with just stock turbo,
Well, let's check it out.
downpipe exhaust tune. I feel like whatever I would get, I'm not trying to go like bigger turbo and shit on stuff, but I'm willing to tune downpipe exhaust shit, bolt-ons.
Specs.
H2, brah.
Yeah, you gotta be
I live
stage
that.
two.
I live it.
It's all about the
I live
stages.
it.
I'm sorry to talk specifics. Yeah, what I meant.
Okay,
was
so here
stage 2.5.
No more.
I googled Volkswagen TDI specs, right, just to kind of see ballpark what it's gonna give me, and it gave me a Volkswagen 2015 Jetta TDI SEL. Makes 150 horsepower.
Well,
let's see.
that's one that's 10 years newer.
It is, but I'm sure the price on those is kind of cheap.
What's it
now.
make for torque? By at least 200.
So that's what I'm
And
looking
it's
for.
probably
'cause
easy
believe it
to
or not,
unlock too. You
Oh,
can
yeah.
probably double that torque easy.
Yeah,
I
2011.
I just hate front wheel drive so much too.
Dude, don't
I
do
do
it.
too, but I
swear
gotta
it,
say,
I got my GTI, and I swear I was like I'm gonna go back to it. This is a risk, and I got it. And I was like, even as good as like a Mark 7 GTI was, I was like, I'm never going back.
I mean, yes and
Front
no,
wheel
right?
drive?
I'm never. Nothing that I drive that I own personally in my fleet will ever be front wheel drive.
Yeah, it has its
That's kinda
place,
how I
right?
feel.
That's a shame because I'm a Honda boy too.
I just like, you just got to be able to toss it. Like something like
I can-
there's
I
just
can- I
something
can drive it really
fundamental
well.
about the drift that I.
Dude, I drifted the shit out of my Focus ST at the firm. It was crazy, and
You
like,
tail wagged it.
no, it was a full.
It's not drifting.
It was a drift, and the way you control a drift in a front wheel drive car is the same, but it feels horrifying because what's happening.
Kind of. There's
You have to maintain steady throttle because the momentum has to remain the same for the rear to do what it's doing naturally, and it's going to grip up. But if you hold that throttle and that grip level at the right spot, you can absolutely slide the shit out of those things. And it was
like the physics for why you're doing what you're doing are completely different.
no, they are.
You're
They
doing
are.
the same
They totally
thing,
are. They
but-
totally are. Yeah.
I
But
want
the counter
on
steer
power.
and the throttle is the same.
That is the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want on power oversteer.
Yes, I
want
agree.
it all the time.
Yeah.
I want it all the time.
Yeah.
It is nice. Just
It scares the piss out of me.
The one thing that I
we
did
gotta get you in
appreciate.
some drift events. It's nothing but fun.
Oh yeah.
That's what I. Well, like in moments like you went a little overboard, you're like, "Yep, not getting this one back."
Yeah, that's true.
I've never spun a. Well, no, I take that back. I have at drift events, but never in like a road racing situation. Spun.
I don't
a car.
I've never
think I've
spun
ever
off.
spun a
I've never
car.
even- I've
Period.
never even gone off, but like,
You spun at the
autocross?
drift event, didn't you?
No, I didn't
You
spin.
had you had to have at some
I-
point.
Let's roll back the footage. I didn't spin it.
How
Oh,
many
I've
how many
spun it.
passes did you do?
3 or 4, and I linked it my third run.
Then what happened that didn't link the first two?
I just didn't. I couldn't feel your car out, so I wasn't pushing it hard enough.
Oh, so it just like it snapped back.
Yeah,
to
I was
straight?
straightening instead of
Oh,
spinning.
Yeah, doing the drift day, I spun it a shitload just sending that bitch.
No, I was on the more conservative end because like your car it
Honestly,
felt more
that
numb
was
than I
like
expected.
one of the most reckless decisions I've ever made too. I was still paying that car off, and you can't get track day insurance for a drift event.
Oh man.
Like, we're just gonna send it.
Rich,
happens,
welcome
it
in, man. Unfortunately, you caught the end of this, but basically, we're totally open mic, open question, whatever
Oh,
you want to talk
that was
about.
empty too.
But, I still got COVID,
Yeah.
so I'm drinking water. But good to see
Yeah,
you, man.
yeah. Like the point, I just want to like drop the 830 off and like hope they get it done in a month and pick it back up and be like, great.
That'd be
From
sick.
here, I go back into maintenance mode and I will keep the car will be good.
You just
despite
came for
any
the-
catastrophic flaws.
Rich came for the drink, so bottoms up, boys.
I do want to engine swap that motherfucker though.
The E30.
That'd be sick. Those things
The
are so light.
E36 motors are dirt cheap. Those M50s and M52s you can get for like a grand and under.
I would still want to put like an S motor, like an M3, but I don't know.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, that'd be
then you're
cool
looking
for
at
the
like
cloud.
$5,000 instead of one.
Man.
And
Or an
the cost is-
extra 100. I don't know.
But I
That's the tough
I
thing.
like the little M20, man. It's got
It's
got
not
its
bad.
own thing.
Not bad at all. What's it make? Like 150?
Out of the
like that.
box, they make 167.
Oh,
Damn,
Rich
that's
has
even
got
more
the right
expensive.
idea.
That's not bad.
Specky 30. I was watching a Specky 30
No, no,
race the other
no.
day.
It's always
It was
easy.
spicy.
You got to buy it.
No,
You just got to
no,
buy
no.
one, like
No.
Bjorn did.
Yeah, Bjorn. Bjorn
he learned
bought
that the
2.
hard way. He learned that the hard way. Now he's
Yeah.
got 2.
Ah,
he's got like a 12 grand
one-
one and a 25 grand.
This one's not even. It's my wife's. Well, it was. I got it for my wife for Christmas. So the E30 is her car.
She was on board
Okay.
with getting the E46 CHP as her.
No, the E30.
Wait, she wanted the E30?
Yeah, it's her car.
No shit.
I found one, and I found it right before Christmas one year. And I went up to Knoxville and got it. That was like 2019, I think.
that's what's up.
Before they kind of blew up. Well, they were already pretty expensive then. But
Yeah,
There you
they've all
go.
kind of hit. I'm wondering if E46 is a level hit because it definitely follows like E36s took a slump. Now
I
they're
have a
booming.
CHP, so I'm on crack.
Yeah. Honestly, I bet 3 years those EHPs are going to go for like 12,
They're
14.
not going down, dude.
Yeah. Like I guarantee
Yeah.
it. I wouldn't get rid of it.
Yeah.
Not now.
I don't want to, but I'm at a point where I think like at the end of the year, I think I'm gonna sell it
Rich and Juicy are both telling
to
you
get into something else.
get a Miata. And after watching some of Dean's races, I mean, that looks like more miles per gallon than any car I own. So I just can't fit.
I think it's gonna be a E90 M3.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'd be pretty
Oh,
sick.
like-
The V8,
Interesting.
got that freedom ring.
I've heard mixed things about that. As long
Well,
as you
rod
take care of
bearings.
them, get the rod-
They have
if you can
BMW
accept rod bearings as routine maintenance, then
Yeah.
there's little
Rod
caveats that
Rod bearing, throttle actuators.
But the bearings go bad because those have a sump, right? Like that. I'm pretty sure
It's
they're.
all around. The same thing as the S54.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's all around.
and you can deal with only making 200 something foot-pounds of torque.
That makes 295.
Yeah, it's still 200 something.
Yeah, I know it's not 300. I know.
Out of a V8, yeah, that should make more.
But it sounds so fucking good. It's
I actually was
that
drifting
power-
one earlier today. It does sound so good.
What's
Not
it
a real
rev
one.
to? Like 85?
It's up
Something
there.
crazy?
84. Yeah.
80. Yeah, that's that. Like that type of shit isn't going to happen again. So that could also be something to hang on to.
Miata bearings never go bad. So true.
No, it needs to be able to be like backup kid compatible. If you know what I mean.
I mean, you could stuff a kid in the trunk.
Of a Miata.
Yeah, that's a good point. You can't fit anything in the back of a Miata. You know what though? You could probably put your son up on the partial shelf in a Miata. You could fit all. You could. So one of my friends has an NB Miata, and he was telling me he can fit 2 sets of golf clubs in the parcel shelf of a Miata.
That's ridiculous.
Full sets?
I
don't
think
care what
so.
happens to the clubs on an accident.
Or just go like, could get a family. Have you seen how cheap those M5s are? Of like the
Yeah, no one
like
wants
the
us for
F-
some reason.
the F10. Is that what that is? Like the V8 twin turbos?
The one
I
right
see
after
those.
one right after the E60.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, F10s. I've been watching this closely. It's a lot of car. Like I still want the car to be kind of like small.
Wheelbase.
Tall. It's like M3 just is it. Right?
Yeah. You know what those
Yeah.
weigh? Less than 4,000. It's probably like 38. The E90 M3.
The E90 M3, they're a little on the heavy side. I mean, if you find like a
But not 4,000 heavy. Probably like,
if you find like a stripper car in the 3,600 range.
yeah, that's
Okay.
still light to me. Like my fucking Genesis is 36 and change. Like,
Yeah.
that's a light car
That's a big
nowadays.
bitch.
If it's-
As
if
it
it's
is. No, that's a
like-
light car now.
Yeah,
Like,
if it's like a sunroof car with lux packet, like
Mhm.
all started up, then it's probably
the BMW
pushing, like,
stuff.
It might be pushing like 3,700, so almost 38.
Dang.
Still at that power level. That's nothing to.
Yeah.
I actually want the next gen. Like the next gen is like the smart play, right? The F80, them going to that motor, it is. for the
It's
most part,
unlimited potential compared to
It-
that.
it's- that S55 is pretty much bulletproof. The only like weak link on those cars, motor wise, is that crank hub, and you really don't see it in a stock car. Your chances of failing are just they come with more horsepower. But it's a
Well, I
25
wonder
hub.
if that's an issue with the damper
This is-
that they're running on the end. Like if they were to
Yeah.
run like an ATI super damper for the
No,
crank
it
pulley.
has, it has something about the way that it interfaces, so you can buy an aftermarket one. The whole job, if you paid somebody with the hub, is probably like $2,500, and now you
Less.
have a Now you have a bulletproof
Well, from there,
S55.
right?
from there.
That's all the power you need, really. Like,
Yeah.
if you're having a daily driver,
And that's
4-door,
that's like the
fuck
daily
around,
wise, I mean, they're fine.
Hey, so
Plenty.
really quick, Rich, are those wheel bearings on the Miata also press in, or are they bolt in? And how much of a bitch is that to change if they're press in? Also, for fun, how many have you
revise the
changed?
entire hub.
Well, I don't know, man. Race teams, like, if you're gonna keep in racing, you make every part count. So I doubt he just buys the whole assembly every time. But let's see what he says. Also, he did say don't race a German car unless you have an unlimited budget, and I think that is facts right there.
Very true.
Yeah. American cars you can kind of get away with. Japanese cars you can get away with because parts are just so cheap, and usually Advance and AutoZone has the parts for all of them. But like something about the Germans, they're like, no,
Fucking AutoZone, man. Been going back to that place. Have you seen the price inflation at AutoZone in the past year? 2 years?
Yeah.
Maybe since COVID. I haven't been going as much.
Everything's up.
When,
And it's
I
sad.
went in there for fuses this weekend. I paid $1 per fuse.
Plus.
Per fuse. $1 per fuse for 5 of them.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck is this become? Like,
It used to be like, yeah, just grab as many as you need and like give me 50 cents, you know?
I still have a stockpile of them. Like, I was at a junkyard at some point in my life, and I was like, yep, here's the shoes.
That's what I do. Since I get to park cars out from time to time, like anytime like it's a car that I own, like all the bolts, all the fuses, any like consumables, like weather stripping, I have like spare dashes, carpets, all that. I yank it whenever I can. It's
I'll
the move.
be at a car crossroads. What I've decided is that I want a little bit more than what the ZHP is. Because when I got the ZHP, I was still in Georgia.
you
And I
missing
was
the
like-
vet?
And that was like 45 minutes from like Blood Mountain.
Okay.
Like the ZHP was all like the GTI up there, the ZHP. That's all you needed up there.
Yeah.
And now like I'm down here in Florida, I'm kind of like I want more power.
Well, yeah, you have to have more power to make anything fun down here because these roads just all suck.
Right? And I'm
It's
like,
all
okay,
grids with shitty traffic and shitty strip malls
Right.
everywhere. No one's paying attention.
Do I supercharge and throw a ton of money in a ZHP that even with the values that they are, is still only going to be worth what it is, right? The mods don't bring money.
It might.
Or
It
do
might
I-
at some point. It'll
or
set
do I
your
just-
car apart.
Yeah. He wouldn't get his money back.
You wouldn't get
Yeah,
your money
I'm not-
back, but
yeah.
you would get
No.
more than a stock one at some point, I think.
Or do I just sell the car for what it is? At a pretty nice point. Like, just sell it for what it is.
Just get a C6.
And just get whatever I want.
Yeah.
And just be at that power level, right? Instead of having to, like, add a power adder or do it.
Well, that makes the most sense, right? Because anytime you add something like that makes more power, there's some teething periods, right, where you have to figure out what's going to fail next, and then it's just you kind of let the magic out, you know. If it's bulletproof right now, it's not going to be bulletproof when you add shit to it. It's going to be more fun, but you'll pay for that fun for sure. So I don't know, man.
Now I put a nice set of Fortune Autos on it. Some Turner arms.
That's the move.
Yeah.
Suspension
Less
will let your
problems.
car keep running.
Yeah. That's how I feel about the Genesis. That's why I haven't touched it.
That's
But just
true.
like an intake on it, maybe for the sound, and like I don't want to touch anything else because the motor's too expensive to replace.
I've done some of the
That's
bushings
true.
as I needed the rear tip bushings, the front control arm bushings.
Mhm. Yeah, that kind of stuff for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had my buddy in Georgia at the time when I had it. He repaired it's a BMW. It leaks eventually. The oil pan gasket. You're done. The car's got 217,000 miles on it.
Okay.
That's light work. Light work for an E46.
It's just getting broken in.
Yes.
Not even. Yeah. It was perfect for up there.
Hell yeah.
Like the vet, I took the vet to mountains too, and like stuff like that. But even the vet was like almost a little bit too much for up there.
Really?
What did that make? Probably like low 300s, something like that, to the
My
wheels.
vet,
Mm-hmm.
my vet on the dyno made 343.
340.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's enough to fuck.
Yeah.
That's almost like pretty much like the perfect power level.
343.
Because it weighs like what, 3,000 pounds? Those were
I-
light, the T5s.
I had an FRC, so yeah, like 3,100 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's a great power to weight.
Oh, I love that thing, dude. That thing was so rewarding.
Yeah.
You just played with it, dude. It was so rewarding, but you drove it like a Miata. Like you threw it in. Like I had the hardest time from that because I was coming from the STI.
Hmm.
Just because of the weight of it, you could toss it in like or just not having the.
3,100 pounds on 315s.
Yeah. In the
It's
front
definitely
had
wants to
315s.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Holy shit. Yeah, that's
drove
that's
like
pretty
a
much
lot.
like just on rails. Like wherever you point it, it just fucking like goes.
That's exactly what it did.
Man.
And you just
Yeah.
dance with it. Like it was such a rewarding car to drive.
Yeah, I thought 265s were fun on the Z. I can only imagine 315s.
That's what like could you break it loose if you tried and laid into it?
Again,
But like more than like it would actually hang out, or it would just kind of self-correct and come back even under wide open.
I mean, depends.
How far gone it was, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, how tight the corner, where you're kind of at, that sort of situation. But yeah, I mean, you could get it to go around on you.
That's wild.
It was just kind of at that point, but it was just a lot of fun. E36 was fun too. I liked E36 and 3. That was fun.
What size tire did you run on that? Like 245?
NA Vet beat a GTR. Was it R35 GTR or like an older?
Oh shit.
I don't care about bet. I don't care about what's faster now. I just want fun.
Yeah.
I feel that.
I realized that years ago, like a few years ago. I'm like, you know what, man? I'm not a natural born wheel talent, dude. I'm not getting anywhere. So like, just
We're gonna buy the new hot car for every class every time they restructure.
Have fun with it, man.
R35, damn, those things are fast. I've gotten to enjoy an R35 a couple times, and that honestly still remains one of my favorite cars just because of the way it accelerates. You get on that thing and it shifts so fast.
Yeah.
It feels like it's squatting down harder and harder as it's going faster and faster. It's just so cool.
It's not a bad idea. There's a guy my neighbor had one. It's a really nice, clean, light one.
And they've made them for so long that the value on them is super good. Like you can.
I was gonna say they're still like.
You can't get them cheaper than what, like 50?
Oh, they go down to 30. If you get.
Yeah,
if you get the first gen.
For what, like rebuilt salvage title or something?
No, like
I feel like 50 to 60. I feel like is like the lowest.
Yeah,
that's probably the one you want to buy. But the first gen had all the transmission issues, right? So if you find one of those that doesn't have a built trans, you could absolutely get it. Like a nice, well, I wouldn't say nice because they.
Sounds like a bad idea though if it's about to grenade.
Well, yeah, like you add any power at all, and you're gonna have transmission issues. That's kind of where they. When they first came out, you couldn't launch them.
Low 400s.
Yeah. Yeah, they were like 460 or so for the first gen, and then they upped it to like mid fives by the end.
Yeah.
So there's a ton of reason to not buy the cheaper GTRs. However, technically, you could get into them at that price point.
My brain says 60K would get me one, but I would.
For what you do, 100%. You'd want to spend the 60, and get a good example that's slightly later with the revised transmission.
We should make this a fucking segment on our podcast where we bring Facebook Marketplace finds of just like random shit that we've. Dude, I window shop all week at the office. I just like window shop bullshit that I'm never gonna buy, like R34 imports, just fucking everything. We should just like pull like a little list of the cool things we find or obscure. Fucking
found this week on Marketplace.
Yeah, they are. Dude, I've been looking at GTTs. Like, you can get a GTT for like 20 and like
I would do that. I
mean, RB25 Neo, I'd build it. Like, I don't really care that it's not a GTR.
It would still
I don't care either.
Yeah. Still have an
it would make the noises, and that's all that matters.
R33 is my baby, and I'm set that I could, if I wanted 50 grand, I would just go and do that.
Yeah, that would be sick.
That was when I graduated college. I'm like, that I said I'm gonna own my life a Midnight Purple V-Spec 2.
Damn.
Okay.
See what's
bar high?
No. See, the beauty of the R33s is Midnight Purple was one of the most common colors on
R32.
No, the 33.
I want a 3. I'm a weirdo. I like the 3s.
Yeah.
Wait, you want a 3?
Yeah. So the 3 was it was super common to come in Midnight Purple because
nothing. I mean, V-Spec 2 is later V-Spec. So
So that would be the harder spec to find, the V-Spec, because they didn't make as many, obviously. But the color would be easy.
It wouldn't break my heart.
Yeah.
To not have it, but yes, I would prefer to have a 97.
Well, the V-Spec didn't even add a ton, did they? It was mostly body stuff, and then maybe like some aesthetics, like inside. Yeah. I don't think they even changed the suspension. Well, maybe it was like a slightly like.
I feel like the motor always made like 15 more horsepower, or it was something that was like negligible.
Which has got to be down to a tune for such a negligible amount of horsepower.
It's like 2 psi a boost in that, or 1 psi, honestly, for that little horsepower.
Or like a bump in timing.
Negligible. Yeah, something like that.
If I import, the problem was that was always my dream car. And then I had a buddy who was importing cars, and the right to drive a right-hand drive car, the novelty is kind of cool.
It's cool for about a week. So I have my brother's got a Mark IV that he imported from Japan, and before he was stationed back in what's that?
You said he's got an A90?
No, Mark IV.
Super.
Yeah. Wait, no. It's
Supra.
yeah, those are the A90s, I
There's
guess, right? The Mark IVs.
No, A90 is the new one, right? He's got
I'm
the
doubting
Mark
myself.
IV is the late '90s. Supra.
He's got the Fast and the Furious Supra. Yeah. Yeah, so he got it imported because he's in the Air Force, and he got it delivered to my house, and I held on to it for a little bit. And yeah, it's 100% the thing. Like, it's cool for like a week, and then you realize how nothing is made conveniently for you to access from the right hand side. And also, for some reason, like, I never, like, almost never go to fast food places or anything like that. But like, when you're driving a right hand drive car, it's always when you get that like knack, like, you know what, let's do it. And actually, if you want to check out some, yeah, ATM, anything, right? If I was to go to work, parking garage, scan in for the badge, yeah, can't do that. But if you want to check out some vintage Shut Up and Drive It videos, we have a video on there where we did an autocross actually with that Supra, and part of it, we sent my brother through the McDonald's drive-thru in reverse, and we were trying to like low-key record the reactions. Oh man, these people didn't know what the hell was going on. It was pretty hilarious, but they're pretty cool about it too. Good times.
Yeah, for right-hand drive, I feel like the only way I would ever own a right-hand drive is if it was something that we couldn't get here, like a GTR.
Yeah, I agree.
Here's a right-hand drive MR2 or Supra. I'd be like,
For me,
Yeah, dude, I saw one on the highway
TZX100.
today.
I want it.
NB Miata.
I know you get them at a discount because they're coming overseas, right? Like, you can get a 4th-gen Supra pretty cheap compared to what a right-hand drive versus left-hand drive brings here, right?
Yeah, left hand is premium for those cars
Right.
here.
You know, so like, yeah, if you want to get into a Supra and you want to get one at a discount, get a right-hand drive one, I guess.
So true. It's very true.
But I want one, especially if I had to daily it. Oh no.
Yeah,
But
daily
you
takes
can't
out of
daily
the
it.
equation.
But yeah, the
It just
novelty,
don't-
park it,
exactly.
bring it out, and have fun with it. Yeah.
It's all those little things you say, like you do when you have to use a car to use as a mode of transportation and not just a fun car. Like, all those little tedious things you do, like, you realize that none of our stuff is built to do it.
Yes.
Yeah. All the quirks become miserable. All the cool
like-
quirks that were fun are like, you know, this does kind of suck.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't have time for that.
Yeah. Ain't nobody got time for that.
An R33 GTR would be sweet.
That would be worth it for sure.
Any of them.
Hell yeah. All right, boys. It's 10:50 on the eastern, coast of America's here, and we've
Good
got.
post credit run.
It was. We've got 3 viewers still watching. Any final questions, comments, grievances, anything like that? Juicy, I want to see that GoPro footage, and yeah, you totally need to get a camera because I think we need to let the juice loose live.
They're not ready.
I want to see Juicy driving for real, like dive bomb some people, like some
I think
fucking traffic. I
if-
feel like
if we can ever get any kind of funding of any kind, it would be so worth it to put together a like track day or something. Oh, you're about to do a 24-hour? Hell yeah. Wait, 24-hour or what?
oh yeah, what track are they doing this weekend for that?
Road America.
They started doing 24-hour races for
Yeah,
every.
they have that this season, so we can get our level.
I don't know which one it is.
I don't remember. I thought it was Road America.
Man, I just watched a drift event. Actually, no, Grid Life was at Road America. And I didn't think about how much fun that track would be to drift until I watched it. That would be a sick track.
Yeah.
Saw some dudes, 500-600 horsepower. They were able to link. I mean,
Yeah.
the straightaways,
You kinda need
obviously, you couldn't.
tell you
But
It was fun the last time they came through Atlanta. I was there in 2000.
Road Atlanta. Yeah, that was a big FD.
That was for Grid Life.
yeah, they don't do
really?
Grid Life at Road Atlanta anymore, right?
No, that was the last year for it, and that was the year they did it with Formula D. So like,
Oh, yeah. So they brought all the pro cars.
it was Tanner Faust was there with his fucking whole setup, and
Oh, man. Tanner Faust is always going to be one of my favorite drifters because I remember when I first got into drifting, he had a Scion TC with a fucking NASCAR engine in it. And that was just so cool to me. Like, what?
Does he still drift?
No.
probably.
Nah.
I mean, he probably
still
does, but not
rally
professionally.
Stuff, right?
Yeah,
I haven't seen him. Does he still professionally do rally at all? or does he do? He's
I
pretty
think
much just like contracted for stunt work type stuff.
I don't even know if he does that. Honestly, I think Top Gear America set him up.
He still drives.
He what? He does drive?
Yeah, he still drives for shows and stuff.
Okay. Let's see, Tanner Faust. If I just Google him.
Yeah, that was a rad event, man. Like at first they were
He's
just
51.
They were just going down the back
life
stretch,
sucks.
right? And they were just dropping it into N8 and B, and then they would come in that little.
Just rip it up the hill.
Oh shit!
And just around the bridge, because they had the keyhole open.
Oh, to bring it back up the hill.
And that's when they had all the stands set up because that was the slowest part.
That's
So-
badass. You get to
So-
see him
Yeah,
drop it
and then-
down a
then-
gear and just.
And then by the end of like the weekend, they were drifting the whole track.
That's sick. Hell yeah.
Come up, we were sitting up in the S's, like 3, 4, 5, sitting there and just watching them drift all of the S's.
That's
I
incredible.
never even thought about that. That's got to be wild going
That
downhill
was-
on those S's, just whipping it.
That would
Because
be
they have to
so
be going
sick.
so hard. Those cars get so much traction. That's like the
Well, that's probably
craziest
what
part about
saves
those
them.
drift cars.
They got all that
they're
side
so
bite.
hyper tuned. They've got to send it harder, the more like grip that's available.
They were sideways every turn. It was awesome.
That's
so
badass.
sick. So
That's fucking
does Tanner Faust still race? Actually, so Tanner Faust is returning to Nitrocross for the second and third rounds of the 2023-24 season. So that's probably already concluded. If you guys actually haven't checked out Nitrocross, I caught some of that recently as well. That's freaking crazy. They run like electric cars that look like the Sierra rally cars, like the I'm not sure of the
Oh,
model.
the Cosworth. I was thinking of Toyota Sienna first.
Yeah. Right? No, it's like a very bespoke
The
looking,
Cosworth,
like
yeah.
it's almost like
Yeah.
an SUV looking thing, but it's all electric, and they look rowdy as hell. Definitely recommend checking that out. Rallycross in general was cool, but yeah, Travis Pastrana got Nitrocross together. Good for him.
I wish we had something here.
Yeah. So when the days when
Monster Jam this
GRC,
weekend. Monster Jam. Sunday.
hell yeah,
I wish we had something here for rally. I don't understand why we don't have something for Rallycross. And
we did for a while, but the season went
know.
defunct. I
You
got to
don't
see
think the
Dave
firm could
Mira,
support
Ken
something
Block,
like that?
Travis Pastrana run at Daytona, and I'll never forget it. I got to see
R.I.P.
Ken
Dave
Block
Mira.
and Ken Block. Ken Block drifted the International
R.I.P.
Horseshoe.
Ken Block.
That was so
Nice.
sick.
I bought a Subaru Rally Team shirt that weekend. I saw it.
Yeah, hell yeah. I still have a couple of mine too.
That was a fun event.
Hell yeah.
Fucking Brondo ads in our chat.
Brondo, man. All right, on that bombshell, I think we're gonna end it here. This was fantastic doing this
Good run.
little end piece. Appreciate all the viewers still here. Looks like we got 4 of them that I can see. Appreciate the hell out of you guys. Anything you want us to talk about in the future? Leave a comment below, or yell at us in private, whatever you want to do. But yeah, thanks for stopping by the pit maneuver. Adam is asleep, so if any of you have his personal number, call him. It'd be hilarious. I know I'm going to as soon
We're
as
gonna
I'm
post
done.
it in the chat right now.
We are going to
Anybody
post
who
it in the chat. Yep. So yeah, same time next week. We will catch you then. Peace.
There's
Racing hearts start to pound, wheels touching the ground, speeding through the sound, harder tracks all around. Adam, Eric, J-Hole, Jesse race. Friday nights, take your place. Formula 1 GT, free chase. Virtual leagues in your face. The pit maneuver. Feel the thrill, feel the groove. The pit maneuver. Engine roar, make a move. Race cars flying by. Adrenaline sky high. Gear shift before your eyes. Champions never lie. Get in the zone, get in line. Drifting tight, chasing time. Checkered flags we climb. Cross that finish prime. The pit maneuver. Feel the engine scream and cry. The pit maneuver. Burning tracks reach the sky.